Green Day, get your post-American idiot shit out of here. We're cool hardcore and edgy, not emo hardcore and edgy.
Wow, we're not even looking at the level select screen, are we?
No.
Rip and tear indeed.
Ripping and tearing all the filler out of this game.
Now, I almost think that when the designers decided to trap you in a room while voice clips play at you, they were having a laugh at the player. Because they knew they'd be bouncing around exactly like this.
Yep.
Which is what.
Oh, just wait till I actually go and meet Samuel Hayden.
Well,
bouncing around like an idiot.
Jokes on you, designers. I love that kind of shit. Well, not necessarily the being locked in a room while waiting for the cutscene to play, but I love the story. So, you know.
I like to think Doom Guy is one of those that begins every day by throwing a grenade inside every room he visits.
Clear.
Yeah.
Doom Guy, that's the sixth
like
toilet you've blown up this month.
You have to make sure there's no demons in there.
Doom Guy, it's a Walmart.
Well, that's where all the demons would be hiding, John.
I know, right?
If you were
They'd be the first to go.
If you were a real man, you'd reach inside that toilet.
I'm not James Thunderland.
No thanks, James.
Now here's where we are introduced to combat challenges. Entirely optional that give you upgrade points to spend on your weapons. They can range from something like here where the variety is Spice of Death, which is perform 5 different gory kills on basically anything. So you can perform them based by looking at their feet, going straight on, coming from the right or the left or from behind, jumping on them, what have you.
Yeah.
They can get from, obviously they're very easy early on just because it's the first level they introduce them, but they can get really hard later in the game.
Yeah.
Now, do the rewards differ depending on how you approach a glory kill?
No.
Like if you were to hit him from the
Nah.
legs or hit him in the arm?
No,
or
it's
something else?
it's just different animations.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's no reason for the different glory kills other than variety in visuals based on.
That's why
circumstance.
why the thing is called variety is the Spice of
Yeah.
Death.
And
Yeah,
so
because if it was the same animation every time, you'd get really, really sick of it.
that, and if it was the same animation every time, it'd mean the demon was snapping to look at you every time you did a glory kill, and that would just look unnatural. So yeah, there's a different glory kill for every angle that you can.
I don't know. I don't know if the repetition would get on my nerves after a while because, you know, one of the glory kills kind of remind me one of my favorite things to do in Resident Evil 4, which is just to kick everybody, you know, as soon as they're stunned. And I never get sick of that.
Yeah.
Well, I have the fun of kicking everyone in Resident Evil 4, seeing how they bug out whenever you kick them.
Yeah, and also seeing how chainsaws clearly go through your body.
Yeah. Well, you know,
because of the invincibility frames you give
that
it.
was fun at the time. It's still fun. It hasn't aged very well visually.
No, it's not. But that's why you suplex.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, they did that kind of thing where there was a different kick for if the enemy was on their knees instead of just staggering, and there was indeed the suplex.
I'm sorry, am I boring?
It's just that in Resident Evil 4 it was hard to get at enemies from different angles, so you didn't see the different animations all that often. So, I mean, you couldn't even strafe in that game. You could not strafe. so
Who
you were
needs it?
You were pretty much only ever coming at an enemy from the front.
So what's that lady's the bad guy, right?
One of them, yes.
Okay, what's her deal?
She's a crazy cultist who wants to unleash demons on people.
Oh, cool. I love those guys. I mean, oh, that's
Now,
bad.
Was considered
That's bad, yeah.
That was considered a plot twist of the original Doom, right? Was that you're actually in hell?
I think it was
And
after
not
the
Mars.
first game, after the first episode, you beat a guy and you're sucked
After
into
the first
hell.
episode, you go through an exit portal and end up surrounded by demons, and the second episode picks up from that point. And eventually you find your way back to Earth, which is being invaded by demons as well. There's a story in Doom. It's not an important story. I think the developer actually compared it to the story in Porn, but the
and then Doom 3 tried to take it seriously, and everyone's like, "What?"
Yeah, well, Doom 3 did a decent enough job. I like Doom 3. It's fun in its
Doom
way.
3 it emphasized more on the horror aspect of Doom, and I think it succeeded in that regard. Well, again, the BFG edition.
Yeah, it succeeded to a degree, but the problem was by the time Doom 3 came out, no one remembered Doom for the scary factor anymore. It was kind of colorful and
Hey, wasn't it that movie with The Rock?
it was too colorful and campy by by modern standards for people to remember that they liked it for the horror. They just liked it for the fun action at that point. So it was a jarring transition when people went to Doom 3 and it was doing this kind of serious thing. It's funny, though, because the original Doom was originally supposed to be like a multi-character serious story kind of project. They dropped that aspect at some point, obviously, but... Whew. Yeah, this is the kind
Lever!
This is the kind of
Pull
shit...
the lever, Doom guy!
This is the kind of shit you have to do to get the secrets in this game. You gotta look for not-so-obvious places that you can jump up and maneuver your way to platforms that are otherwise inaccessible.
Or they're
I
just
seriously
hidden
thought
from-
you were just going to walk off the ledge.
I mean,
Well, I did just walk off the ledge, but I just walked right back into the thing.
there's a hard-to-find secret in the area if you see one of the old classic Doom doors, just sticking out like a sore thumb, because it's a DOS door in the middle of this PlayStation 4 environment.
Why is
Doom.
everything low res?
I like
Everything is low res in the future.
I like how faithful they were to the original Doom style. Like everything is everything except the enemies and you is a sprite, so it rotates with you.
Honestly, I think it would have been funny if they had the sprite enemies from the original Doom.
I like the
too,
glory
though.
kill on the suicide bomber enemies. You just kick them straight away from you into the enemy group that's behind them. It's great.
Does that do damage to the enemies behind them?
Yeah,
too?
yeah, they
Yeah,
explode.
and enemies have friendly fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Oh yeah, that was another thing I heard about Doom is that you can trick the enemies into fighting each other and leaving you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not many people are going to deliberately go out of their way to do that, but if it happens while you're blowing stuff up, all the better for you.
yeah, like, why you got to let the enemies get the kill steal?
That's experience
So-
I can have.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, there is inherently quote-unquote experience, but it's not so much like, oh, this guy is worth 10 points, this guy's worth 2. It's just kill every enemy is essentially worth like 1 point, and you fill up the bar to get the experience, to upgrade your guns or your health or whatever.
Yeah. Now, speaking of guns and upgrades, the upgrades are nice, but what I really missed, that I didn't know that I missed until I played this game, was having access to like 5 different guns all at once, all of them uniquely fun in their own way, as opposed to...
You ever play Axiom Verge?
I bought it, actually, very recently on PS4. I haven't had a chance to boot it up, though.
I mean, it's not Doom, but
It's not Metroidvania, yeah, I know. I saw your review
But
on
if you like multiple weapons all at the same time, then I think you'll like
Well, I
Axiom
mean,
Verge.
specifically in the context of first-person shooters. Other genres haven't had this issue exactly, but one of the things that I think Halo and similar games introduced was the 2-weapon system, because switching between a whole bunch of weapons was awkward without a number pad or something.
And seemed as unrealistic as well.
How about that Skyrim where I can carry 299 pounds of
Okay.
weapons, picks up a 1-ounce blue
Okay,
jay bird feather.
I'm
Now I'm over encumbered again. Well,
I'm going to say this now, okay? The seen as unrealistic argument was a retroactive thing. They made the decision because they were having trouble designing a first-person shooter that ran smoothly on a console, that could be controlled smoothly on a console. So there were a lot
oh
of...
yeah, groovy.
Yep. There were a lot of things that they limited for that. The unrealistic thing was an argument made in defense of the 2-weapon system when people didn't like it.
It makes more sense, I think, for multiplayer because it is a little bit ridiculous in a multiplayer situation to have
yeah,
like 15 different weapons because then ammo conservation
in
isn't the
multiplayer you also have to
problem
think in multiplayer you also have to think about balancing loadouts so that no one can just load up on the best guns and
Yeah.
be better than everyone else.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk realism, even a real person can carry more than 2 guns on their person. Maybe not more than 2 large guns, but, more than 2 guns. In that sense, Resident Evil 7 and the like are far more realistic than the 2-weapon
I'd say
system.
if you were in a similar situation of Doom guy surrounded by demons, you'll find a way to carry more than 2 big guns.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can strap 2 guns to your back. You can carry multiple handguns. And in fact, you should be able to carry multiple handguns no matter what else you're carrying. There's no reason to limit that. And that was always a bit of an annoyance for me in 2-weapon systems. Is okay, I have 2 slots. I can't carry a standard bitch-ass sidearm unless I use up one of those slots. Doom
Right.
here, Doom guy
Or you
here,
get dug-
he has a handgun. it's infinite ammo because the game clearly doesn't give a fuck about the handgun. So you'll never
The
run out of
handgun, I'm
handgun
guessing,
ammo.
is your weapon of last resort. Then,
Yeah, it's
Like,
not very powerful.
Yeah.
It has some good things going.
It's
for
also
it, but-
there to whittle away at health when you're trying to, do certain challenges. So it's like, oh, I have to defeat an enemy using, this kind of gory kill. Well, I don't want to risk shooting him with my, sniper rifle that could one-shot him. So here's my pistol to whittle his health down, so I have a chance. To do that.
You can do some damage with the handgun though. It does have a Metroid-style charge shot, so
Yeah.
this. I like this. This is like the old school random ass elevators in the old games, except it actually has a mechanical purpose. I love that. I don't know why. It's just I like it.
Do you still have to find random colored card keys and open? in
Yep.
order to-
Yes,
Okay, cool.
yes, you do. That element is very much still here. I like that they kept that aspect and just made it visually more immersive. Like it's less. There's this door that's colored bright red, and it's more like it's got your standard sci-fi holographic interfaces from Mass Effect or whatever.
So the game's just called Doom. So is it a reboot or is it like just a basic?
No,
Doom 4?
it's technically Doom 4.
Yeah, it's technically a sequel. Like
They just never really bring any mention to anything that happened beforehand.
Okay.
well, yeah, I think Doom 3 was already a soft reboot anyway, so fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, like we
Because I was
saw
to say-
in the jittery flashback thing when Doom guy woke up. That was a reference to Doom 3. So the previous games happened. They just don't really matter.
That said, though, because this game was pretty successful, when they continue from this, do you think they'll
They'll probably just call
still-
it Doom 2.
Damn
Yeah, do you
it!
think-
I
yeah, do you
hate
think-
video games.
Well, at the same time, Doom is such a well-known franchise that you can get away with that without confusing even regular people.
Well, that's why everyone just calls this game Doom 2016.
Yeah. It's
There
like,
have been. Where did the other 2013 Dooms go, though? But Tish. Bad joke. I'm sorry. Continue.
Why is everything 64? Where were the other 60 Mario games?
it's 2015, Ted, though. You miscounted a bit.
Well, no, there. I was
What
including
were the
Doom 2 and
two
Doom
missing
3.
numbers? Doom's lunch breaks?
Stop! 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 It's on the floor. It's dead.
Well, there technically is a Doom 64, so we still are
Yeah.
missing another 60 so games, I guess.
I'll tell you though, if you ever get bored of these like kill 'em all sections, just replace the music with Fossil Falls from Mario Odyssey. It's a really boring good time.
It works.
Yeah.
Music could
Oh no!
go with
Well, I
almost
mean,
anything.
this is on PC, so you can customize it with whatever you want, really. Mind you, I do really like the soundtrack of this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There-
one thing that I've noticed just by listening to the game is that there isn't a lot of music a lot of the time, which isn't my favorite video game trend. This is a personal thing entirely, but I usually like it when there's music of some sort
Well,
playing most
actually,
of the time.
It's a little difficult to tell while we're talking about it, but there is music. It tends to sort of blend hard rock and atmospheric in different measures depending on the situation.
Okay.
Yeah, the music intentionally is a bit more quiet when you're just exploring that sort of thing, and then it will ramp up massively during
Yeah, it's
fights.
heavy on the
Yeah,
bass.
so it
Yeah.
kicks in when the action kicks in, which is a lot of the goddamn time.
Okay.
It's just the old games didn't have this aspect where the music could change based on the situation. They just had one track that played throughout the level, and that was it. That was your
Yeah.
That's all you had.
That said, though, I that is a pet peeve of mine personally as well, Ted. For FPSs in specifically, because I can go with it depending on the genre, but if an FPS game decides to go quiet, I find that a little.
It works.
Silence is important, but you also
it
silence.
depends.
Choosing to not have music is just as important as choosing the right song because it adds a
Yeah.
different feel to the game.
Yeah, it depends on the type of game. You got
Yeah.
fucking Resident Evil 7 or Doom 3. When those games go quiet, it's tense. It makes you wonder when. the
Or
next
like
monster's
Alien
gonna show up.
Isolation. That game does not have much music at all.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I imagine Resident Evil would be a different game if someone was just farting with a synthesizer. And, oh, wait a minute.
I need to get a physical copy of the director's cut because apparently there were 2 director's cuts and only one of them has the stupid soundtrack.
Yeah, but in a game, so in a horror game, for example, it makes sense to not have music a lot of
Yeah.
the time. But in a game where action is the focus, I always tend to feel like something is missing. Like, for example, in a lot of first-person shooters, they don't play music when you're in a online deathmatch, and I'm like, why? You know,
Dude,
you'd think
like,
that'd
the
be
best
something
part,
you'd want.
the best part of multiplayer fighting games is jamming out to the cool character themes that are playing and trying not to lose your concentration while doing so.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my favorite parts about Resident Evil 5 is when the multiplayer was online and they played those sweet, funky-ass rave music during Mercenaries.
Yeah. I do love the environments in Doom, though. They've got just the right amount of recycled assets to not call attention to them, so most of the areas in the game feel really unique.
Yeah, you're not
Well,
gonna
every area is different.
have a video game in 2016 with no recycled assets. It's
Well,
just
yeah, but
impossible.
here's the thing, though. A lot of single player games and first person shooters and other genres too, but first person shooters especially tend to feel a bit visually phoned in. Unless they're dipping into really super cinematic trailer shot territory in their cutscenes. But the Doom is a fairly rare example of a long single-player first-person shooter that never loses its variety in visuals. And I call attention to that in particular because even some of my favorite games, like Mass Effect 2, for example, recycle their assets from start to finish. Like, you're always going to see the same crate, like, about 50 times in every level. It's annoying. So...
So Doom is long for a first-person shooter.
Oh, it's very long. Yeah.
Okay.
For a single-player first-person shooter, I should stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm sure that for people who are really into Halo or Call of Duty, the single-player campaign is like a less than a fraction of a percent of their playtime.
People largely buy those games for the multiplayer. I'll say that less for Halo fans because Halo started as a single-player series, so it will never lose that particular slice of appeal. But I think the Call of Duty single players tend to be fairly short.
Oh, nobody cares about the single
Yeah.
players in those
Yeah.
games
The only
anymore.
single player I hear anything about for Call of Duty is Modern Warfare. So the first Modern
and
Warfare.
and
Is that
the
the one with
Russian
the
mission in
airport
too,
thing?
but yeah.
Is that the one with the airport?
That's
no,
Modern
Rush-
Warfare 2, I think.
Yeah, that's the only part of Modern Warfare's 2 story that matters. But as far as single player, we'll be doing a lot more because this is only part 2. So
Yay.
Yep.